alcohol,
sex,
food,
gambling,
drugs,
internet,
love.
spending.
There are a million addictions, and everybody is recovering from something. Here to help, it's Recovery Wednesday with America's original radio psychic, Dr. Linda Salvin, along with addiction specialist Candy Finnegan from the Emmy Award-winning television show Intervention. Candy and Dr. Linda are two gals who know recovery because they are in recovery. Listen as they help you bring your recovery to the next level, help you solve your thorniest issues in ways you may have never imagined. Together, they bring you the tools and techniques that bring balance, serenity, and recovery to your life, and the tools you need to find solutions for healing from the disease of addiction. Candy teams up with Dr. Linda to share their over 60 years of combined experience dealing with all areas of recovery. In her decades as a metaphysical clinician, Dr. Linda has helped thousands of people worldwide solve problems on the air and in person with her insights and solutions. So pull up a chair, turn it up, and get ready for a visit on the path to recovery with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin and Candy Finnegan.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. It's another Recovery Wednesday and the last Recovery Wednesday for this particular segment of shows with Dr. Linda Psychic Solutions. Candy Finnegan has become so busy in her work with the children, the schools, and the interventions. She's not available today or next week or the following week. And then I'm leaving town. So we decided to just say goodbye as far as doing the show is concerned. She thanks everybody for participating and listening and hopes that you got something out of it. And of course, all the downloads are available at my YouTube station, which is Psychic Solutions. Dr. Linda Salvin, Wisdom, it's all out there on YouTube. And I've known Candy, as you know, for Candy Finnegan for 37, almost 38 years. What is my little curl doing? I can see my curls. It's a blessing to work with her and somebody who's so talented and gifted, and especially in the world of recovery. I'm different. I'm a psychic healer and a medium, and I'm in a whole different area of spiritual health, which is still the mental health, but we come from different aspects. The thing we have in common is we're both in recovery. So I haven't had a drink or a drug in over 38 years, and now she's at 38 years of her sobriety. And what we did with this show was to open doors to help you understand that there are ways that you can achieve a successful growth spurt in getting rid of whatever is bothering you. If you're addicted to love, if you're addicted to alcohol, if you're addicted to money, if you're addicted to drugs, if you're addicted to cigarettes, if you're addicted to travel, we all get away. We all have to escape. But the real issues that we were dealing with here on Recovery Wednesday was about alcohol, drug addiction, and substance abuse, because that's really what we're doing, just to self-destruct. We can all run away and do geographics. A geographic is where you move thinking it's going to be better over there when you haven't really fixed what's going on inside. So I am here today to talk to you about balance and harmony. We need balance and harmony in our world and our life. And right now there's so much chaos out there politically and religiously, and what's going on the campuses that I really don't want to dive into. Although tomorrow on the Thursday show, I have a special guest by the name of David Levy, who is the head of a movement called the Fight for Peace, to help people understand that we don't have to live this way with what's going on between the Palestinians and the Jews and all the disruption and all the chaos. And, it's kind of like, all we need is peace again. Bring back John Lennon and the music and the Beatles, because there was peace back then. We had a different sort of war going on when we all wanted a peace. Now it's war against each other, and we don't need that. But what we need is peace and harmony within ourselves, regardless of how we're brought up or how we've been trained or educated to believe. And not everything we hear, learn, or believe that is taught to us is actually how we really should be or feel. We all have our own agenda. We all have our own feelings. A lot of people become sheep, like what's going on the campus. I believe it's a paid movement. I don't believe it was just somebody's idea one day and then it spread across the country through the campuses. No, it's too organized, just like Black Lives Matter was organized a few years ago when we were in lockdown. It's just it's a civil war against each other. We're pitting ourselves against each other for what? Just bring in the balance. Just bring in the harmony. If you don't agree with the other side, that doesn't mean you have to have hatred. It doesn't mean you have to have fights. It doesn't mean you have to burn things down. It doesn't mean you have to prevent a teacher from getting to his class to teach, or a student who's paid their tuition who wants to go to her class. Come on, people. It's not necessary. We are living in a day and age that I was hoping by my age, I'm 70, I wouldn't have to go through what I heard stories about with my grandmother, who died in 1996 and was born in, I think, 1906. I believe she lived a good 90 years, sorry. But she went through World War II. She lost 11 brothers, sisters, cousins. I think there are about 25 people in her family that were extinguished in the camps. So I grew up listening about these horror stories. And then there were 3 suicides in my family. I mean, come on, pain, disruption, death. And now we have to have fights. There's not enough pain in our own lives that we have to go out and cause more on a communal level. Come on, people. Find the fight within yourself to find the harmony and peace. A lot of it starts with your diet. A lot of it starts with getting sober. A lot of it starts with, I'm still trying to get the camera so I can look into your eyes as opposed to me looking down. I still don't know how to do all this right. Maybe that's a little better, huh, Rebel? Oops, there it goes. For those that are just listening, I'm moving the camera around. I could be a peace warrior, yes. I was a peaceful type of Girl Scout. I was a peaceful kind of guitar player. The songs I write, even today, are more peace-oriented. I don't understand war. I don't understand ugly. I don't understand fights. I'm like everybody else. I can be aggressive if I'm wronged, if I'm bullied, if I feel out of line, or if I really want to make a statement. We all have those emotions. But for the most part, we want to find peace and balance in our lives. When I was in Alaska in the middle of the wilderness, it was peaceful. There were 11 people in the town. I mean, there was nothing but a mountain full of snow. That's peace. A little too isolated. But I keep looking at the pictures to take me back to that moment. And I close my eyes and I'm standing in the snow under the stars again. That doesn't mean I have to have a bottle of scotch or Kahlua or a joint or some Coke or some pills. I can find peace and balance with life. The poem I have read on the show that I've been doing for over 30 years is as follows, on how I see God, which is what all this is. And we're disrupting God's universe. No, it's not God's will that there's fight. That's man's will. God wants peace on earth. Man makes disruption. Man makes war. Man makes the missiles. Man fights. It's not God. God wants peace. It says so in the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven. Bring it back to earth, people. The balance and harmony comes through prayer. It comes through getting sober. It comes through being nicer. It comes through communication. It comes through being honest. I have been attacked more in the last 2 weeks with dishonest people trying to make me look like I was dishonest when I'm probably one of the most honest people you ever meet. Because I'm so transparent and I'm so vulnerable. I don't have any buffers. I just tell it like it is. But you wrong me, I'll let you know you messed up. Okay. I'm going to bring somebody on in another week or so who's been bullied as well. And there's so much miscommunication and stories out there without facts that it's almost funny what people do on their channels to get attention, where they take 1 or 2 people and manifest stories from 1 or 2 lines that have nothing to do with the reality of a situation, but the reality of drug addiction, the reality of chemical addiction, the reality of alcoholism, the reality of smoking addiction, the reality of sugar addiction, the reality of gambling addiction is real. And it can destroy your life and other people's lives around it. And that's when you become the tornado in other people's worlds. And it's not fun. It's not fun. And the ups and downs we have emotionally anyway are just part of what happens. But you let go of the drug or the drink and you learn to trust that there is a power greater than yourself, as like looking for God and you can't find God. And that's where my butterfly poem comes in. And it says, God, are you real? The child whispered, God, speak to me. And the meadowlark sang, but the child did not hear. So the child said, God, speak to me. And the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen. So the child said, God, speak to me. And a star shone brightly, but the child did not see. So the child said, God, show me a miracle. And a child was born, but the child did not know. So the child said, touch me, God, show me you're real. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child, but the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. How can that not be God? How can you not find peace in something so beautiful as a meadowlark or a star, a child, or a butterfly? It's simple, but no, let's go have chaos. No, let's go have hate. No, let's go have anger. No, let's go have lies. Let's go make them right. Let's make them wrong. It's so stupid. It is just so stupid. It's uncalled for, but everybody has to be right. Everybody has to hold their position. I just got a letter where I'm going to probably take it to court because I have been accused of something that I wish I had a camera recording everything to prove I am right, and I am being accused of something that is wrong. It's not a big deal, but it's still, I know that a line's been crossed. And there's certain tasks or issues I will take up and fight to have the last word, and others will just let it roll off like, water off a duck's tail, as they say. Just, it's no big deal. If you're listening and you want to call in, I would love to have a phone call or a chat with you at 561-623-9421. Feel free to ask a question about recovery, balance, harmony, what's going on in your own world. If you want to join the show, please do. I will let you know now that, as I said, Candy Finnegan will no longer be on the show because of her job. Thankfully, she's helping people get into recovery and get sober, and she works with a lot of teenagers, besides a lot of celebrities and a lot of everyday people that need help, whether it's gambling or drugs, alcohol, whatever. So I'm going to switch this show and bring it more into just psychic solutions. So 3 days a week for now, it'll be me with my guests. Whether it's music, whether it's healthcare, whether it's political, or whether it's literary, I don't know. I'll just keep doing my show. I would love to have the phone ring off the hook. I would love to be able to do an hour of psychic readings, but the audience isn't listening enough at this live moment to have me interact with you. So at the end of July, I will no longer be here. I'm letting you know I will be elsewhere. I'm not quitting. I'm just not going to be on this station or channel, or whatever it's called, but I will continue because it's my life's passion and my job. But because I need you to call in, and maybe it's the time of the show, maybe it's until you get home or when you can download. And not only that, there's millions, not hundreds, millions of podcasters out there. I am one little pebble of sand, and I'm well aware of it. Until you find me, want me, if it's a topic you desire to learn about. I'm not just talking TNA and shit shows and like a lot of stuff that you find on YouTube that get thousands of viewers. I can't do that. I want to educate. I want to help. I want to give. I want to talk. If you want those other kind of shows, keep listening to the millennials and that. I'm a little older than the millennial. I come from the baby boomer generation, and I know what it's like to have been addicted because I had an addiction for 19 years of my life. I drank, I smoked dope, I was addicted to diet pills, I smoked cigarettes, and one by one, by the time I was 38 and a half years ago, I decided I'd had enough. I stopped. I had stopped taking diet pills on my own, and that put me into a tizzy. You can't just stop amphetamines cold turkey. But back in 1978, I didn't know any different or how to get help. It didn't make sense, and the recovery field hadn't really opened up. And when I grew up, it was normal to give people diet pills to stay thin. I'm not thin. I'm thinking about Ozempic. Then I read all the side effects of Ozempic with the face falling in or the boobs falling down or I won't get pregnant, but because I had a hysterectomy many, many years ago, so I can't get pregnant. But there's a lot of side effects that are now coming out because the wonder drug of getting everybody thin also makes people sick. There's always a price to pay. So I've gotten to a point where I'm kind of comfortable in my own skin finally. I'd like to be smaller, yeah, because it looks better, I think, but I feel okay. But that's because I've done the inner work. When you do the inner work, you realize that you've got resentments and fears and anxiety and guilt and grief and anger towards the past. And he did this and she did that. And my family did this. And my ex-boyfriend or wife or girlfriend or whoever, or friend. It's big. We internalize it all. We internalize it. If you go back to yesterday's show when I had the magnificent Don Wilson on with me, and he was sharing his experiences of knowing Elvis Presley. Yeah, go listen to that show. It's pretty cool. His dad and sisters were killed in a car when a train hit them, and he was 10 years old when he was orphaned. And he was told at the funeral by a relative, don't cry. Texans don't cry. So here's a 10-year-old boy holding in his emotions for a couple of years, and his body exploded because the swelling and the kidneys got infected because of the emotional metaphysics aspect of him went into such shock and trauma by not releasing the trauma and the emotion. He got sick. Doctors at Baylor University, as he was explaining, couldn't help him. I understood it immediately. It's like taking a pin and you let it all out. He finally started crying one day, and he couldn't stop for a long time. And that's what happens with grief. But he had an extreme rare case that the body's fluids backed up, that he wasn't digesting properly, that he wasn't assimilating and even his bloodstream or the urine expulsion or anything to have the body work. The body's like a car. We have different systems of regulating as to what goes in and what goes out and how the heart beats and where the blood goes and why we see and how we pee and how we eat and how we let go and how we feel. And it's all a machine, like a car. If you're a car fanatic, you open the hood and there's a carburetor and there's a hose and it's all attached and somebody get behind the wheel or a plane or a tractor and it works. A doctor or somebody trained in anatomy and physiology understands how it works. I do a lot, not all, but a lot. I understand the inner working of the body. As a metaphysician, I have learned over the last 40 years how to heal people from the metaphysical perspective, getting into the emotional aspects that causes physical disease. That's where I come in as a metaphysical healer. Don was talking about how he was healed by somebody who put energy at his back where the kidneys are. And I understood that. We were like this yesterday on the screen because there's more to just the physical. So balance and harmony is part of healing you, me, us, the world. Whether it's on our personal level for health, communication with family members, trying to get a point across, just like on the campuses, trying to get a point across. There's no balance and harmony at the moment, but it will calm down again. But you take the collective of all these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students nationally and internationally. I was talking to a friend in Spain yesterday and what's going on in Ireland and England and France, everywhere. Israel, of course. But each human being, you, me, need our harmony and balance checked. We have to let go of what we don't need. The past is over. We can always remember. We always have memories, but to dwell on it, I am responsible for having dwelled in my past for a while till I finally worked through the emotional attachment that was giving me an imbalance or disharmonized feeling toward whatever I was focusing on. Once I came to terms and the acceptance was there, I was able to find more peace and balance within myself. So if I'm more peaceful and balanced within myself, I can present that person to you as an educator, as an enlightened person, as an influencer, whatever you want to tag this gift I have or talent or career or ability, my calling. It's not because I just woke up one day and did it. No, I had to work on myself to get there, just like you do. If you're drinking and you can't stop drinking, or you're smoking and you can't stop smoking. I had Rocky Rosen on a few weeks ago on the other show about the cigarette whisperer. Go look at that show. He will help you stop smoking in 4 days. It's an addiction. He said it was the hardest thing to do in his whole life. He's sober. It's not easy living without a buffer. You can read all the time which actor and actress or politician or teacher, everybody's addicted to something. And then you find out that you can just be addicted to spirit and addicted to healing and addicted to being a good person. If I could, I would go talk like this to every campus across the country and say, come on, enough already. You're going to have the naysayers over there. You're going to have the clappers over here. And it's not going to happen. It's split. But you're not. And neither am I. You may have opinions politically. That's fine. I'll go for it. I'm talking for you as a human, as to what you've experienced, what you're holding on to, why you're still addicted, why you're still abusing, why you're still blaming, why you're still hurting. Why do you still hurt? Okay. That's basically what Recovery Wednesday has been about. You don't have to abuse drugs. You don't have to abuse alcohol. You don't have to abuse spending money. Candy's working with a huge gambling problem with a client right now. She's told me about it, and she's doing some great work with this person who's finally in recovery. I have a friend whose daughter is in recovery now for 6 months after being in jail. We've talked about it on the air. We've alluded to it. And there are some real serious psychotic breakdowns out there. You don't have to get to that level. You don't. There's ways to get help. The hardest part is asking for help, admitting you need it. We're too prideful. We think, oh, no one's going to help me. Nobody understands. Nobody's there for me. And all the little chit-chat that goes on in our brain, and we banter back and forth. I heard somewhere somebody say, all the words in your head is only heard by you. Makes sense. No one else hears what's going on up there. And there's a committee. There is chit-chat. She said, he said, my dad said this, my sister said that, his girlfriend said this, my boyfriend said this, my friend said that, Candy said this, Storm Monroe said that, whatever, all these people say, whoa, and then you wonder why I have a headache, because you're trying to process everything. And then you've got the internet, then you've got the phones, then you've got the TV, and then you've got the radio stations, then you've got the podcast stations. It's talk, noise, stimulation to the point you gotta go, whoa, where's the peace and harmony in all this? Because everybody's out there doing something now. Never was like this in earlier days, especially before the internet. We didn't have this communication ability, but we have it now. So how do you unplug? How do you get some balance? How do you get some harmony? If you're drinking and you want help, there's a 12-step program called Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step is to admit that you have a problem, that you want help. And it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but give it 90 days. If you don't like it after 90 days, go back and try some more research and see what feels right. It only gets worse. It gets worse if you come back and try to do it again. Harmony, balance. If you work all the time and don't take time to look at the birds or take a walk or take a vacation or go out to dinner or something, where's the balance? You can't just work all the time and then go to bed. Some people do. Last night I was exhausted. I went out to dinner and I said, oh my God, I'm so tired. So I did healings, I did radio, I did programming, I did 12 or 13 clients. Readings, it's a lot. But I had to get out of the house and I had to just chill and I had to get some protein in me. And then I had to have some conversation and start listening to someone else's day and get out of myself to just find the harmony in the moment, people. It's not hard. But we're all so important to ourselves that we forget that that person has a story and that person has a story and that person has a story and this one has a need and this one has a want. And it's hard to satisfy everybody and give everybody an amount of time to hear their ideas or their needs. But when you really are tuned in, you'll listen. Balance takes over and harmony subsides within as a result. When you dig deep through the emotional problems and you dig deep into the past, or you dig deep into the addiction, or you dig deep into the truth from the deception, you will find balance and harmony. The hard part's getting honest with yourself. The hard part's admitting that you made a mistake. The hard part is that you have to live with yourself. The rest of the world doesn't care. They'll walk away, you walk away, they want more, you don't want more, whatever. Somehow you find what today's language is the village, your clique, your group, your whatever. And we go through that in grammar school and junior high and high school and college. You go through different groups of people. Some people walk that whole lifeline with you, and some drop off somewhere along the way. Sometimes I've had friends that lasted the first 50 years and now they're gone. I've had friends that I've seen one girl in New York who was one of the first psychics I ever met in 1992 or 1993. I happened to be in New York and I reached out. We've been in touch, of course, and she's been on the show and I'll have her back. But I said, I'll be in Long Island. You want to have dinner? Yeah, so we've got dinner planned. Certain people you don't have to talk to all the time, but there's an understanding of unconditional love and friendship. And it'll be nice to catch up. I was in New York. I saw her in Long Island in 93. She's been out here since. And then I think 20 years have gone by. We haven't seen each other in person, but we've seen each other online, but we keep in touch. And you have those relationships, right? So life's a journey, and it's not like you've got a picnic basket just of pink eggs. You have blue and yellow and green and polka dots and stripes. You got a whole mix of things in there. It's like I'm always saying, if it's life, it's like a picnic basket. You got to get your food and your sandwiches and the Cokes and drinks and your cups and the napkins and the spoons and the forks and then you got your basket. You're going to go somewhere, so go to the beach or go to the mountains and lay it all out and see what you've collected, which is your life, who they are, what they are. Who wronged you? Yeah, a lot of people have wronged me. A lot of people have hurt me. You bet they have. You think I fought? Oh, I did. Did I cry? Of course I did. Have I gotten over it? Most of it, yes, of course. But that doesn't mean there aren't battles. There's a battle every day. Every day we find battles. Or as Rebel, the producer, you can come on because I can't do this for the next half hour, is to... I get frustrated with all this techie stuff. I cannot stand cables and computers and monitors and headsets. I'm not a techie person. I have somebody come put it all together, show me what button to push and how to do it, then I'm fine. But have me open each box, put it all together, make it all work? No. So Rebel, what do you do for peace and balance when you've got 12 hours of work, you're studying law, you have and you've got emotions and you're trying to hold it together? At least we're out of the retrograde, so it's a little calmer this month, but it's hard. You can't just say, I'm in a peaceful area today. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. And it's never easy. What I find things to do that's a creative outlet for me, whether it's writing, working on my comedy, working on my personal shows. I have a lot of things in progress. So I just work a here and a little there. And I also create things I crochet.
Oh, so you're using your hands and you're making something. Do you make afghans or do you make little pot holders or socks? What do you make? Or a shawl? What do you do?
I work on blankets. Let's see, blankets, stuffed animals. I'm currently working on a Stitch stuffed animal from Lilo and Stitch. My niece wanted Stitch. She showed me something that was made, and if you make it from the box that they sell in I guess it's Hobby Lobby, if you make it from the box, it's this tiny little thing. Oh no, not me. I had to go get the big yarn and make it all fluffy and
yeah,
big.
Of course.
So instead of Stitch being like 3 inches big, it's going to be like huge.
Well, when it's done, if it's done before July or at least next week, bring it so we can see where you're at with it. That'd be wonderful. I think that'd be fun to see your creativity. It'd be good. My book, I'm finally reading the manuscript, so we should be in publishing hopefully in summer. There's so much I've got to edit, but that's part of the process. At least the book is done as far as like at least 90% of it with my editor. And that's like with you. We have projects. But if you're not balanced, you can't get the project done because your brain is overloaded with, I got to do this, got to do that. You got to prioritize as to how you're going to get to the next step in order to make it what you want, right? We all have to prioritize, and then you find the harmony. A lot of harmony comes in just doing your passion. I was at a concert Saturday night with some friends, Fred, who's been on the show, The Astrologer, but also gave me my start in radio 30 years ago, more than that, at KBIG 104 FM. We went and saw Roger McQuinn, who started the Byrds back in '64. And so we're listening to old time music. He goes, oh my God, I got hormones again, because this music's 60 years old, but it was our generation. And at the same time, it was so wonderful. It brought in the harmony and the balance and the good times and the memory. This guy's 80 years old, still playing his guitar. So Fred said, you playing your guitar? I said, no, I got angry 3 years ago. I haven't touched it. And all I did at one point was want to be a singer-songwriter. And Fred knows I gave up music in open mics to go into radio because I thought, oh, instant money. Well, and then there's been times I've regretted it, but now I'm going back to the music, and there's some significant music people in my life again. I already walked from 2 record deals, so I got angry and beat myself up. But everything happens for a reason. But music is a hobby, just like doing the knitting and the crochet is a hobby. It gets you relaxed. It gets you out of the stuff of the day. You pay your bills, you make your meal, you make your bed, you do the laundry, and all of a sudden it's like, what do I need to do? Something you enjoy to bring balance and harmony to your soul. It doesn't mean you can't sit and have a beer or a scotch or whatever your thing is, or a toke, but you don't have to get so screwed up and wasted that you don't know what day it is, what time it is, or who you're with. There's a way to balance if you have the ability to do so. Some people who are real addicts don't have a choice to say, I'll take a sip and put it down. It's all or nothing and 20 more. That's the difference that we've tried to explain here on Recovery Wednesday, that addiction is something that is mental, physical, and spiritual, that isn't just about control or having some type of, I would say control, like can't you control yourself? No, some people cannot. But on the other side of getting healed or healing comes the harmony and the balance. So you've always been able to find something to occupy your time and your brain and your thoughts and your emotions. Are there times, Rebel, that you just don't even want to do that because either you're zoned, you're tired, or you just want to space out and think?
Well, it's funny you should say that. This past weekend,
Yeah.
there was a situation. I was blindsided by a situation that I literally could have hurt somebody because I was so mad. It's funny, it has to do with law, which even pushed me even more. 'Cause it's like, I need to study even harder now because it showed the miscarriage of an injustice that people have to go through for an accusation that they didn't even do. Okay?
Well, maybe I should have you write this letter in response to the airline that I'm bitching with. And because, I'm going through a lot to prove my point, and I'm being accused of something I know is not right. And I said in this letter, I wish I'd recorded this whole incident so you'd see that I'm right. But I can't fight City Hall, but I'll have the last word. But when you start to see injustices and you start seeing what you know, especially if you're going to take on cases later and you're going to represent somebody and you have to see the truth as you see it, to best represent them, and it's wrong or you're being challenged, it's hard because that anger comes up. It's like, no, you're going to listen to me. I know what I see here. And if you're seeing something legally or the injustice, you probably want to go out and fight, kind of like they're doing on the campus, but it's that position plus this position. They both have their own opinions, but where's the middle? There's no peace yet.
There's always a time and place for everything, and people need to realize, you need to pick your time and your place. Don't do it at the wrong time, because then you can cause yourself to get in trouble. But the situation that blindsided me, first of all, you can have a warrant out for your arrest and not even know it, because there's no place to check if you have a warrant. So it's like, okay.
They don't send you notices. They don't send out notices anymore unless you get busted, and then they look in your record and say, oh, you haven't paid this and you've got a warrant here. That's usually what I hear, that people find out under a situation where they're getting busted.
The hard way. Exactly. It's like, first of all, people get stopped for a routine check. There's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. If you are going to you have to have reason. They're supposed to have reason to stop you. Either you were speeding, you have a light out, something.
Or you're swerving, something. Yeah.
No reason whatsoever happened.
Did you get stopped?
No, it's definitely not me.
Okay, I didn't know. Because sometimes we talk about ourselves, but we pretend it's someone else. Go on.
If it was me, I'd probably be in jail right now, because I promise you I would have hurt somebody. But this person got off an interstate. There was 3 cop cars waiting off the interstate.
Is this in Louisiana?
Yes. And let's see, they got off the interstate. There was 3 cop cars waiting for a vehicle matching this description. Okay, that's fine. Okay. And then when you roll in your window, you ask, who are you? And the person said, well, I'm this person. They said, okay, step out of the car. You're under arrest. Like,
No
excuse me?
forewarning, but they already had it in the system that they had to watch for Joe Blow in a blue Camaro, license plate, blah, 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 traveling eastbound on yada, yada. Should get that destination around 3 p.m. And there they are, right? They had it all planned.
So here, folks, when y'all are driving, there's these things called cameras that scan your license plates.
Yeah.
And they scan for license plates. And if this license plate matches something in the system, well, the best part is the person was driving someone else's vehicle. So that wasn't the thing. That wasn't the case.
Wait. So the vehicle was in trouble, but the actual driver wasn't the person they were hoping to bust.
Well, sort of. But the
Go
vehicle is hardly ever in a different parish. This is like 5 parish differences. Okay, parish is what we call what y'all know as counties. Here in Louisiana, we call them parishes.
Yeah, we don't have parishes out here in y'all, California. Y'all.
Louisiana is the only one that has parishes because we have a different law than the whole country. We are under Napoleonic Code, whereas, oh man, I looked it up. Civil Code. Everyone else runs off of a Civil Code, I think it's called. I should know this, but I forget every time. But I do know Louisiana runs off of Napoleonic Code, which is different than every other state in the Union. But anyway, so this person's driving, they get pulled over, they get arrested, did not get their Miranda rights read. Yeah, I know, see? I'm telling you, it started with a bad thing. No Miranda rights read. The parish that made the arrest can't do anything but hold you because they're not the ones that want you. So they can't really do anything with you. But
is this a friend or a relative that gave you this whole scenario?
This is somebody I know, yes, that had me.
Oh my God, go on.
The case. So they get arrested. Don't ever try to get arrested on the freaking weekend because there's no court in session. You are stuck where you're at.
Do they put him in jail?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you go to jail till Monday, right? But they call and say, well, when y'all going to come? This is a 2-hour drive in between the distances that they need to be where they're at and where they got to get to. The 2 hour, the one that put out the warrant said, oh, well, we'll get there in about 10 to 14 days.
Oh my God. Okay. What is the actual, problem that this car drive? Yeah, what's the warrant about? What's the
criminal mischief?
Which means what?
It can mean anything from throwing rocks. No, it could mean anything from throwing rocks. Which, if your car kicks up rocks, that could be throwing rocks.
Oh, like it's my tire's fault. Yep.
So
and I hit your car.
There, beware, because now that I know this is ridiculous. If I get another rock pack and I have to replace another windshield, I promise you, I will track the sucker down and videotape the license plate and then have them charged with criminal mischief. Oh, but wait, don't make a false police report because that too is criminal mischief. It is a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor. Let me be not a felony.
You're going to be a hell of an attorney when you get there, Rebel. My God, you're going to have a field day in court representing people. You're going to love it.
Because I can fight either side of it, but this one's really good. Okay, so they saying it's going to be 10 to 14 days before they can transport the person. Guess what? You're supposed to see a magistrate within 72 hours of being arrested. But there's a clause.
What's the new clause?
The new one is you can only see a judge at the place that you're actually the warrants for. So you could sit in jail for 10 to 14 days.
Especially if you're in the wrong community or parish.
Yes. I'm like, oh, heck no. This is not no. So let's say it's a single individual with children. Where are their children supposed to be if family wouldn't step up? So then you're going to involve other people. I'm like, oh no, I'm producing a bill to bring to the governor myself. This is crazy. Everybody else has to work on weekends. Okay. Doctors have to work on weekends. Lawyers work on weekends. Police work on weekends. Well, guess what? Why can't a judge work on the freaking weekend?
They should have a weekend judge. So maybe you're going to change the laws of Louisiana and become Council Rebel Medler, who's going to be in the news for changing an ancient historical law to help the people of today. Maybe that's your mission.
If something needs to happen, because that's ridiculous. You could, and all for something you didn't even do. When you're like, what are you talking about? Arrested for what? Now this is a person who is squeaky clean, has never done anything wrong,
Has no prior record.
No prior record at all. And
however, but what's in the system that supposedly was done? Why was the car person tagged? What were they looking for? What was the actual, was it a rock? Was it, what happened? What was the problem? What are they accusing them of?
We don't know. All we can get is throwing rocks.
They still don't know. There's really nothing.
There's really nothing. Every police officer, every detective, every judge, every DA, everybody that I have spoken with says, are you kidding me? It's a misdemeanor. We wouldn't even bother with it. We'd give you a court date. I'm like, okay. And I asked everybody this. When you were younger, didn't your parents take you to the water and you skimmed rocks and see how far they could go?
Yeah, of course. That was fun.
All of our parents were teaching us how to be criminal mischief people, because you can't throw.
That's a good byline for a case you can defend. Oh my God. I hope you draft a bill. I hope you submit this and you fight all the way to the capital of Louisiana and you get heard and this bill passes in the next 5 or 7 years. It'll take that long. It's not going to happen next year. But I bet if you did all this while you're going to school with everything you know, and you give your examples and the pros and cons why this law, which is so barbaric, needs to be altered, I bet you'll make headway. And if that's your claim to fame, go for it. Go for it. I think it's great. So was your friend in jail all weekend?
Yes.
Is he out now?
No, 10 to 14 days.
Oh my God. So we're only in day 4 or 5. Yes. Is he getting fed?
Weekends don't count, by the way.
What?
Oh, no, weekends don't count. Remember, the judge and the stuff don't work on weekends. So we're figuring by the time this happens, it could be mid-month.
Jeez.
But what happens how many people are stuck in a system and they have nobody out here to help? Okay. I do want to go on record that lady that was so rude at the district attorney's office. She's so lucky I wasn't there in person, because I would have had to punch her in the mouth. Good luck with that. Oh no, I wish upon you what you are being so snotty about right now. Okay, I wish that she has to go through something like this herself, so she too can understand.
Stop, because I'm having the same fight. I had an incident flying first class when I went to Alaska, and I was bullied by the first class crew, but they're putting it on me that I was the disturbance. I sat in my chair. I had my phone on. I didn't have my little earbuds. They said I interrupted the whole flight. I looked around. There wasn't one person looking at me. All this ended up at the last 10 minutes of the flight before we got to Seattle on my way back from Fairbanks before I got to LA. And this whole argument started, and this nasty, I said, I hope you're in a plane crash someday so you can feel what it feels like to have PTSD when you're in a flight. And it just escalates, but it's their words against mine, the 3 crew members, and I named each one of them. I tagged each one what they said. I even found a wonderful captain who I tried to get him on the show. He said he's too shy to be on the show, and I want to give him a shout out. His name is Captain Fitzgerald, and he's with Alaska Airlines. He's brilliant. He helped me when I was having a panic attack. And they don't want to listen. It's like, well, we're sorry. No, you said this, you said that. I said, that's not true. It's like they're putting words in my mouth, like they're putting words in your mouth, and you know you're right, Rebel. And when I'm right, how do we prove we're right when the system says, I'm sorry, no big deal. Okay, because nobody wants to communicate. Nobody wants to take responsibility anymore. Nobody effing cares. And you're finding that out. Yes, that's the injustice. And that's what's going to make you a better lawyer, because a lawyer is going to have more clout than me saying I'm a doctor fighting this, or I'm a plane crash survivor. It's still the feeling, the imbalance, the disharmony, the disrespect, the injustice, all those emotions of rage and wanting to prove, and here's your friend in jail. It's like, oh my God. And it's a head trip. And you're dealing with it. Your friend in jail is dealing with it. You think the lady at the courthouse is? You're just next. The lady that wrote the letter to me, I'm just next. That's the problem. Nobody cares anymore. But when we do care and we start to rattle the cage, of balance and harmony or fights or peace or justice, those squeaky wheels will eventually make headway. It's hard. It's the battle out there. I give you all the credit. Does your friend have an attorney trying to get him or her out?
Yes, I immediately called an attorney who works, again, attorneys work on weekends.
On weekends, of course.
Immediately called an attorney, and they know what I do. So they're like, okay, well, you do what you can do, start building a case. And that's what I'm doing. It's like, I got this long list, but again, you're not only dealing with, this is going to turn into a big disruption because they're doing this for no reason. This person has children. He's a single father.
Oh, man.
His kids, luckily, family stepped in. I made sure that nobody got those children. Because think about if the kids got stuck in DCS, if the kids were with a babysitter, he had to come out of town.
Yeah, there's that. Or there would have to be taken to the system because he was an inept father. No, there's too many loose ends, but he was at least taken care of there. This whole thing is going to hit the news. This is the type of story I would love to have on the show. On the other side of this, if he wants to come on, then you and he can come on and we can talk about the system, in how injustifiable actions it is and how stupid. I mean, who knew that they'd be sitting at the bottom of the off ramp to capture this car? I went through a red light. I'm trying to think back. It was probably about 8 years ago. My dad and his girlfriend were in Europe, and one of my dad's best friends had passed away, and I went to the funeral in his honor, and then I had to go to an appointment at night, and I was exhausted. By the time I was going through Beverly Hills or West LA, I went through the yellow light, but it had turned red. I was 0.8 seconds, not 1 second, 0.8 of a second into the red light, captured on the camera, had to go to court, had to pay $650 because I was an eighth of a second into the red light. That's injustice. There was a cop there that said, just tell him that, whatever. And he told me what to say, and the judge denied it. So it didn't work. It's not like I went into the intersection, caused an accident, hit somebody. There was nobody there at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Yes, I went through it. I admitted fault, but an eighth of a second captured on camera. We're everywhere. I just had to go get my global entry, and now instead of giving fingerprints, it's all electronic on those machines, whether it's our driver's license, our passport, if it's your license plate. We are under watch constantly. But I've never heard that the cops scan, get a report, watch for who's driving down the street. Oh my God, that's all we need. We had the SWAT team out here in the Valley last week, and I didn't even hear the whole story, but we had SWAT. I think there were 12 guys with a tanker and their guns, and they were in the neighborhood going after somebody. This is America today. Just like on campus, all the unrest. Where's the balance? Where's the harmony? So you're not in harmony right now because you're agitated, because you're upset, but you're right. You're fighting for what is right and justifiable, Rebel. And I know we're almost out of time here. We got a few more minutes to wrap this up, but it's still, whether it's peace and harmony and you're going to sit on a mountain and meditate, or you're not going to drink alcohol or do drugs or smoke cigarettes or binge on food and throw up or take laxatives or whatever the thing is to get rid of the emotions. The healthy part about what Rebel's doing, okay, so she's crocheting, she's using her hands, she's not ingesting stuff, so she's so inebriated, or the person driving the car wasn't caught under the influence of drugs and alcohol. They were caught for something so stupid like maybe rocks. Where's the balance? Where's the harmony? Aren't there more important things going on in the world than all these idiosyncratic issues we focus on? We focus on, like, why is abortion being taken away when we've got crime, homelessness, the borders, taxes, inflation? We can go on and on and on. But for a guy to be tagged in Louisiana, you have every right to be agitated, upset. And I can't wait to hear how this comes out. Then you're going to be more at peace. You're going to be more harmonious because you got the job done. But you're not going to self-destruct. You're going to feel those emotions. And that's the beauty of being clear, is where you can express because you're not suppressing the feelings. That's Rebel. Rebel's rebelling against the system, and I think it's beautiful. I think next week I'll have you come on the video, Rebel, and you'll come on. Get your friend if he's out of jail by then, and we'll have a show. This is to be continued. I am Dr. Linda Salvin. Rebel, this is a great way to integrate the overall picture of balance and harmony, and it is part of recovery. Somebody's in jail, you want to help them. We all recover from something. Now you're recovering from the system, recovering from agitation, you're recovering from injustice. Not just drugs and alcohol, but you don't have to get loaded to deal with the problem. I'm Dr. Linda Salvin. That's Rebel Medler. This is Recovery Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow for Psychic Solutions with David Levy. We'll be talking more about what's going on that isn't so peaceful. Thanks, everybody. See you soon. Thanks, Rebel.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed Recovery Wednesday. You can reach Dr. Linda at 888-509-1077 or at lindasalvin.com and Candy Finnegan at candyfinnegan@aol.com. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.